The old ones did not teach their children with a hero, they taught them with a fool. In Diné tradition there is a figure named Ma'ii the Coyote, and he is greedy and boastful and far too clever for his own good. Every winter, when the stories are allowed to be told, the elders would gather the young ones and laugh with them at all the ways Coyote fell. And here is the strange thing. Every time he stumbled, a child learned exactly how not to. I have been turning that over in my mind for a long time, and I wanted to sit with you this morning and turn it over together. Because it is a strange way to teach, is it not? If you or I set out to raise a good child, we would go looking for the finest example we could find. We would say, "Be like this brave one, be like that wise one, stand tall the way the great ones stood." And here were some of the wisest people who ever walked this land, and they did the opposite. They sat their little ones down by the fire and said, "Let me tell you about the biggest fool in all creation. Let me tell you about Coyote. So pull up a chair and sit with me a while. I am going to pass this along the way. It was handed to me, carefully, from outside, with respect for the ones who carried it first. I do not claim to be an elder of that nation. I am only sharing the shape of a wisdom that reached me and stayed, in the hope that it reaches you too. And before I say one more word about him, I owe you a piece of honesty, because it matters to the ones who carry these stories. In Diné tradition, the Coyote stories are winter stories. They are told when the snow is on the ground, when the world has gone quiet, and the season gives them their proper place. There are old and good reasons for that, reasons that belong to the people whose stories these are, and I honor them. So understand me when I speak of Coyote today. I am not opening the winter basket out of season. I am talking about him the way you might talk about a teacher you love while he is away, telling you what he was like, what he taught, why he mattered, and saving the real telling of his tales for the time and the voices they belong to. Now, who is this Coyote, this Ma'ii? Let me be careful here, because it is easy to hear the word trickster and picture some silly cartoon, some cheap little clown. That is not who he is. In the old stories, Coyote is one of the great figures of the world. He is there near the beginning of things. He is clever and curious and full of life, and the elders did not tell his stories because he was nothing. They told his stories because he was everything, all of it, mixed together in one restless creature. He is brave and he is a coward. He is generous and he is greedy. He is brilliant and he is a fool, and often he is all of those in the very same afternoon. That is the secret of why he teaches so well. Coyote is not a bad example set up across the room from us so we can feel superior to him. Coyote is us. He is every part of a person, held up in the firelight where we can finally get a good look. The old ones understood something about human beings that we forget. It is very hard to see your own faults head on. Nobody enjoys being told they are greedy. Nobody wants to hear that they spoke too fast, or grabbed too much, or thought they were cleverer than they were. Say it to a person plainly, and the door closes. The heart puts up its walls, and the lesson bounces right off. But let a person laugh at a fool who did that very thing, and the wall never goes up at all. The lesson slips in through the laughter, gentle as anything, and settles somewhere deep where scolding could never reach. That was the gift. Coyote goes first. Coyote makes the mistake out loud, in the open, so the child never has to make it in his own life to learn how it ends. Let me show you what I mean, the way it was shown to me. And I will tell these the way the old ones would, in the general shape of them, keeping the spirit and leaving the sacred parts wrapped, because there are tellings that are not mine to give. The old ones tell of a time when Coyote was walking along, hungry as he always was, and he came upon someone who had a gift. Some say it was a bird who could send his eyes up out of his head. up into the branches, to look around, and then call them back and see through them good as ever. Coyote watched this, and oh, he wanted it. He wanted it the way he wanted everything, all at once, right now. He begged and he pestered until he was shown the trick of it, and he was told one thing, one small rule. You may do this only so many times. Do not be greedy with it, do not overdo. Well, you already know Coyote, you know exactly what he did. He sent his eyes up into a tree and called them back, and it was wonderful. He did it again, and it was wonderful again. And a smaller man, a wiser man, would have stopped there, grateful, and gone on his way. But Coyote had never in his life met a good thing he did not want more of. He thought, if twice is this fine, imagine 10 times, imagine 100. Who is going to stop me? So he threw his eyes up and up, again and again, past the number he had been warned of, laughing at his own cleverness, sure that the rules were for smaller creatures than himself. And of course the day came, up went the eyes into the high branches, and he called for them, and they did not come back. There he stood, the great Coyote, blind under the tree, patting the dust with his paws, all his cleverness worth exactly nothing. Now, a child hears that and laughs. Of course he laughs. It is funny, the picture of him down there in the dirt, undone by his own greed. But listen to what that child is really doing while he laughs. He is learning so deep he will never have to think about it, that enough is a real thing. That a good gift has a limit, and the limit is not an insult, it is a kindness. And the moment you decide the limits are for other people is the moment you lose the very thing you loved. The old ones did not have to say one word of that out loud. Coyote said it for them, lying blind in the dust, and the lesson went in on a wave of laughter, and it never came out. There are 100 of these, and they all have that same shape. The old ones tell of another time when Coyote came upon someone who could do a thing he thought was wonderful, some clever way of getting food, or dancing, or fooling the other animals. And instead of watching and being glad, instead of learning it slow and honest, Coyote's whole heart went hot with wanting. He did not want to learn it. He wanted to be the one who had it, right that minute, and to have everyone see him having it. So he copied without understanding. He grabbed the shape of the thing without the patience underneath it, and he strutted off to show the world how splendid he was. And it fell apart in his hands, the way a thing always does when you have taken the outside of it and skipped the inside. He ended up worse off than when he started, and looking twice the fool for all his strutting, because he had made sure everyone was watching before he fell. And the children laugh at that, and while they laugh, they are learning that you cannot skip the slow part, that wanting to look like you have a thing is not the same as having it, and the shortcut around the patience is really just the long way round to shame. There are so many of these, and they all fit the same mold. The old ones tell of times when Coyote was so sure he was the cleverest one in any gathering that he schemed, and he plotted to get the best of everyone, and his own scheme turned around in his hand and bit him, and he ended up with less than if he had simply been honest. They tell of his temper, his hurry, his way of speaking before he thought, and then having to live in the mess his own mouth had made. Greed, envy, pride, that hot rush to act before the mind has caught up. Every fault a person can carry, Coyote carries, and carries it right off the edge of a cliff, while the children howl with laughter. And under every last one of those laughs, a lesson is being laid down like a stone in a good path. That is the part I most want you to see this morning. The laughter was never the whole point. The laughter was the way in. Underneath it, patient and quiet, the old ones were teaching a whole art of living. Do not grab more than your share. Do not think the rules bend around you. Do not let envy talk you out of the good you already hold. Do not let your temper spend what your patience saved. Slow down. Think before the hand moves. Enough is enough. Every one of those is a hard lesson to give a proud young person straight, and the old ones knew it. So they let Coyote take the fall every time so the child would not have to. And I have come to believe they were onto something the whole world has mostly missed. We think the way to make a person good is to frighten them, point out the fault, name the shame, warn of the punishment, and press down hard. And sometimes fear does change a person on the outside for a while. But fear teaches a narrow lesson. It teaches you to hide the fault, to not get caught, to carry the thing in secret where no one can shame you for it. Laughter teaches a wider one. When you laugh at Coyote, you are not hiding your greed. You are looking straight at it, out in the open, and you are on friendly terms with the truth that you have some of that in you too. And a fault you can look at in the daylight, a fault you can even smile at, is a fault you can finally begin to set down. You cannot heal what you will not look at. Shame makes us look away. Laughter lets us look. There is a mercy in that way of teaching that I find almost unbearably kind. Think of the child by that fire. He is going to grow up and be greedy sometimes, and proud and too quick. That is not a maybe. That is just what it is to be a person. And the old ones knew it, and instead of raising him to be ashamed of himself every time he stumbled, they gave him Coyote. They gave him an old friend to recognize in his own worst moments, so that years later, when that grown child catches himself reaching for more than his share, or scheming when he should have been honest, or blind in the dust from his own foolishness, a part of him can smile and say, "Ah, there is Coyote again. I know this one." And a person who can meet his own fault with a smile of recognition is a person who can actually change it, because he has not made himself the enemy. He is not at war with himself. He is just a person catching his old friend Coyote at the same trick, and gently, without all the drama, choosing to do it differently this time. Because here is the last turn of it, the thing the old ones were really after all along. It was never only about Coyote out there in the story. It was about the Coyote in here. There is a little Coyote in every one of us. I know there is one in me. He is the part of you that wants the easy way, and wants it now. The part that is sure it already knows best, that speaks before it thinks, that sees what a neighbor has, and feels that hot little pull of wanting it. He is not a monster. He is not something to hate yourself for. He is just the restless, hungry, too clever part of being human, and pretending you do not have him is its own kind of foolishness, maybe the biggest one. The old ones did not raise their children to kill the Coyote inside. You cannot, and the trying only makes you hard. They raise their children to know him, to feel him stir, and to recognize him. Ah, there he is. There is the one who wants to grab. There is the one who wants to show off. There is the one in too much of a hurry. And in the recognizing, in that little flash of good humor about your own nature, you get just enough room to choose. To let the reaching hand come back down. To let the sharp word go unsaid. To laugh quietly at yourself and take the better step. That is not a lesson you learn once and finish. It is a lifetime of catching Coyote over and over and being gentle with him and steering him a little straighter each time. The old ones knew you would not get it perfect. Coyote himself never got it perfect, not in a single story, and they loved him anyway, and they told his tales anyway, all through the long winters, generation after generation, not because he finally learned, because we finally do, a little at a time, by watching him not. So this is what I would leave with you this morning. The next time you catch yourself in one of those small foolish moments, and you will, because you are a person and I am too, I do not want you to reach for the old shame. I want you to reach for the old laughter instead. See the Coyote in it. Give him a smile, the way an elder smiles at a story he has heard 1,000 times, and then gently choose the better way. That is the whole teaching, handed down through all those winters by people who understood the human heart better than most of us ever will. You do not have to be a hero to walk a good path. You only have to know your own coyote and keep him company and keep steering him home. Before I let you go, I will say what I always say, because it matters. I have given you this the way it was passed to me, a retelling and an echo, offered from outside with respect, and I do not claim to be an elder of that nation or to speak for it. These are winter stories, and I have kept them in their proper place, speaking of Coyote and his teaching without opening what is not mine to open. Different families and different valleys carry these things their own way, and where a teaching touched what is sacred, I have left it wrapped. If any of this stirred something in you and you want to hear more, go and seek out Diné voices telling their own stories, in their own words, in their own season. They are the source. I am only a lamp lit from their fire. Thank you for sitting with me this morning. May you be gentle with the coyote in yourself, and quick to laugh and slow to shame, and may you catch him a little sooner each time. And until we talk next time, walk in beauty.